Welcome to the She Force Show. I'm Amy Carlson, and today I have my special guest, Taylor LaShay. Welcome to the show, Taylor.
Hi, Amy. Thank you. So glad to be here today.
We just had the most delightful conversation before we hit record, which is fun. And we were having this discussion about, how the word fresh was popping up for both of us. So I kind of wanted to just start it off with that. Taylor is one of those people that when I met her in a group on, that I found in Facebook, I connected with her right away. I just knew energetically even before I talked with her. And we have just kind of moved through different circles and different connections on Facebook at the same time. So that has been really cool. And Taylor is working on something really magical, is how I would express it from what I know about it. And I would love to hear more. Taylor, tell us what you're doing, what it is you're creating, and who it's for.
Yes, absolutely. It was a fun conversation before this. I will say how we were both on this energy of freshness in the tangible with the smells and the conversation and seeing each other. And it's always so fresh and refreshing to see you and talk with you when we do, especially because, like you said, we kind of like we're in the same, it's like being at the beach, right? And being on like two sides of the beach and then meeting and you're like, whoa, you were here all day, so was I. Like that's kind of how it feels when I feel like we interact with each other. So it's super awesome. And I absolutely love to share. So I'm a holistic leadership mentor and spiritual alignment guide. And right now, I am working on creating experiences, safe and sacred experiences, very magical life experiences for people. Because, as you were saying, witnessing what I was unfolding, it started out as just a program and kind of like a membership group program, but I was like, it's so much more than this. I can feel it. And I know it's supposed to evolve and be more. And I realized, it was really more about my one-to-one practice, because I truly believe that everyone's journey is very unique, like truly unique, because of we each have special gifts and skills that I think every person possesses, but some are stronger within others. And I think our life experiences sometimes enhance or they dull those senses. And so I had been working on trying to create an offer that really activates these senses, help people understand these senses and how to really use them with my own skills as a leader. That's why I choose to be, a holistic leadership mentor. And that's what I was creating, is like how to help people be that life leader. Because I hear people talk about like being a thought leader. And I'm like, I love that. It's bringing me closer. There's something about that that's just drawing me in. And I realized it's like, you remember in school when you'd be the line leader and there was never one particular person chosen. It wasn't a type of person. It was never someone who did something to earn it. It's just like, okay, who wants to be in this space, right? It was just a desire. And some days it may be the kid you would have never expected. And it wasn't anything crazy. You weren't doing a lot. It just was order, right? And just leading and having that sense of, I'm doing something for the collective. I'm guiding them to lunch or whatever. Like it felt so great, right? And I feel like we all have that opportunity, literally. And sometimes through trauma and experiences and self-sabotage, we sometimes dull that and we take away that opportunity. And which in a way that kind of takes away our ability to evolve, to ascend, to level up, to achieve the things that we really want to achieve. And so, like I said, what I'm creating now is a safe, sacred experience through being an intuitive leader, being a life leader. So that way you trust yourself, you trust the choices you're making, you're healing yourself. We all have a healer within, but when we activate that leader, it helps that inner healer, it helps the inner warrior, whatever inner like, something that we've been learning together is archetypes, right? Archetypes are really just these energies that we can help to understand certain forces and desires within us. And I feel like when you activate just the sense of leadership that we all have, it shows you where to go, especially when you have intuition, because your intuition aligns with the instincts that come naturally to survive. So when you let desire go into that and align with your intuition, you activate any part of you that could ever be needed whenever you need it. And you're able to just tap into that and to evolve and to align and to level up to live the life that you truly want for yourself. And it's more than just something you imagine for yourself, but you get to experience it, because there is a level of accountability and embodiment that is required for all the things that we take in mentally. Like, we have to take that to another level and experience what it feels like, especially, in my past of being an actual manager. Leading is so different than managing, and I feel like we get taught how to manage ourselves, but not always shown how to embody and lead ourselves, especially intuitively. So that means, trusting based on what you're also experiencing, as well as trusting the unknown. The past can teach you, which is why I like to do healing, because there are things from our past that we can heal from, that teach us, that show us like right or wrong. But then there is the other side, the duality, the intuitive leadership for the uncertainty that we face when we make the choice to be different than where we came from or what we knew, and choose to evolve, right? It's not just growing up anymore and doing the things an adult has to do, but it's really choosing a life for yourself and living it as someone you're proud of and enjoying a fulfilling life. So that's what I've been creating. And like I said, it started out as just a program, but it's really just evolved into the way I now support my clients in my one-to-one offers on all levels that I share and offer in my services.
Wow. I love how you put, so of course there's the trust piece.
Mhm.
And talking about the intuition, I also love how you put together the bringing out the leader within us, how connected that can be to our own healing. I think that's an amazing connection. And I have not heard it put together in quite that way before. Super powerful.
Thank
What have
you.
you noticed, for yourself, embodying that and working with clients? How does that show up when people start to experience that connection?
I really love it because I like to call it the neuron firing moment, where it's almost like you can just see everything in their brain has connected, that like, I've got this. I've been able to do this the whole time. And it really almost looks kind of like what I think people describe as an awakening. It shows up as seeing, being able to work themselves through a lot of the things that they face in an empowering way. It looks like taking challenge and really challenging the challenge instead of just being challenged by your challenges. So, like, I have the accountability piece where my clients can message me. So sometimes what it looks like is, here's a problem, and they'll share what they're going through, but then you'll see the revelations through the self-awareness as they're sharing the negative things that are happening. They're still empowering the situation, the people in the situations, and themselves. So it's moved from, you're not stuck in like victim, where, oh my gosh, woe is me, but you're also not ignoring it. Because I think there is, when people hear like mental toughness is what sometimes I talk about with how I work with people. I think when they see that or hear that, there's just like real, like, you just got to be strong. Well, what if being strong actually looks like allowing yourself to just be weak for a moment? and realize that that's not actually weak, but that's strength. It takes strength to say, I feel like I'm breaking down and I just want to take a moment. And so, that for my clients really looks like equal amount of nurturing and next level self accountability, because I never want them to ignore the feelings that come up through the experiences that they're having, especially when they're going after things they've never had before. So, like when they're going after money goals with income they've never experienced, that's gonna feel weird. You've got to learn to feel safe with this kind of money coming into you. When they're going for positions that they didn't think they were qualified for, you've got to feel a certain level of confidence and self trust and self worth to be able to claim that position well before you ever decide to even apply for that position to get that promotion. However, it also takes accountability, right? Like, you gotta take accountability for what you can and can't create, and not punish yourself for that, not feel like you're stuck because of that, but say, okay, well, I put my application in for this promotion, let's say, and I can't control what they think about me, but I know what I think about me. And it's knowing, like, when the doubt creeps in, it's being able to nurture the doubt, not ignore it, but nurture it and say, okay, I get the doubt. Like, I understand why it's present. This is new. Like, I'm trying to level up. I get the pressure, but I'm worth it. Like, I am ready to learn. I know there's going to be challenges ahead of me. I know there's going to be different workloads and responsibilities, but I'm ready for that because I'm ready for what comes with me choosing myself, choosing to know that I'm good enough for whatever result I feel making that choice is going to get me, and being confident in that. And even that if it doesn't work out exactly how I want it to, once again, I'll nurture any feelings that come up and I will take accountability wherever I need to. So then nothing is in my way, especially not myself, which is what allows for my clients to be that leader, but still follow their intuition. So that way, maybe if something isn't aligned, it's never the feeling of I have to start over, but it's accountability. All right, where can I shift? Where do I need to shift my focus? What decisions need to change? What actions need to align? That again, accountability.
Yeah. It sounds like a lot of things that you work with are almost like, I'm picturing a coin and the two sides of the coin. So for example, like the strength, but allowing yourself, like giving yourself that grace within that,
Yeah.
and the nurturing and the accountability that they really, they're on the same, they're the same thing. They're the two sides but sometimes when we try to separate them, or we think they're separate, um, that's where we're kind of missing, we're missing that other side of ourselves. So
Mhm.
I feel like the way you really operate in general is promoting wholeness.
Yeah, I say I'm a living yin and yang because I joke. It started out as a joke. So it's like, oh, I'm black, white, my mom's white, dad's black. And so I'm like literally black and white, like I'm a yin and yang. But then I learned about, astrology, and I was like, oh, and I'm a Gemini. There we go. The black and the white, the two sides. But then I actually started learning what it meant, and also thinking about where I came from versus the life I live now. And it's just like, I appreciate everything that I went through. There's nothing I've done that I am embarrassed about or feel was a mistake, because it helped me be who I am today. And sometimes without that, maybe I wouldn't be making the same good choices if I didn't honor the poor choices. And so, like, I've got a stick and poke tattoo of the yin and yang. I'm literally wearing a shirt with it on it right now today. Like, it's all over. It is my true way of being, because there's just not one way. Life actually isn't black and white. And when you honor that it isn't just black and white, you can actually see, the in between, the flow in between, and the ever evolving motions and the circulations of things, and how one thing is always here when another isn't. And then when that other thing is here, another one isn't going to be. And it's just, it comes and it goes.
Yeah. And there's trust again, I think, for us to lean into the trust that, yeah, this one thing isn't if it's something that's uncomfortable, it's not going to last forever. You know, if it's these certain seasons in life, there's that flow. It's the way of nature. Yeah. Yeah.
The flow.
The flow. So the flow related to creativity. What is creativity to you? How does it show up in your life, in working with your clients? Yeah.
I think that's such a good question. And honestly, for me, creativity is flow. It is literally a flow. It's about allowing yourself, I feel, for me, is to be inspired, yet trusting what is really for you, and then expressing that connection that you feel so deeply for it through your being, which means flowing with life, because you've got to try new things to figure out if something is for you and if you like it. You've got to be open-minded enough to hear about new things, or to be creative. There's a sense of openness to receive that is necessary for you to even figure out, which is in and of itself creativity. It's just a free flowing, always ever present source that keeps you inspired and moving, and even not moving and processing and marinating. And it's ever present, which is what also is such a direct link to creation, which is why I think it is creativity is creation through a flow of inspiration in a way. So that's for me what it means. And it shows up in every way it can. In the way I dress, I wake up, I see how I feel, and I flow with that, and I dress how I align with that. The workouts, maybe how long I work out, how intense I work out, my movements and my stretches in the mornings. It's having that, the discipline of this is good for me, but the creativity and freedom of creativity to be like, well, this is what's good for me today based on the flow I'm in, based on the energy I feel for the day. And so, like I said, this shows up in my stretches, my morning routine, my relationships, even in my work with my clients. I'm all about creativity and flow, because to be creative, you have to understand we're always creating, always flowing, always existing. So things are always happening. And so I think for me, creativity even shows up in business in the way I allow flexibility with my clients. That's why I like one-to-one work. It gives us the flexibility within each other, because we have the connection of knowing what's going on in each other's lives, and we can flow and yet still create. Because what if my client's doing really, really good? So it's like, okay, well, I have this, so let's shift this meeting today, and maybe I'll do a reading this week instead of a call, because I feel really good and I'm just looking for some confirmations as I continue to create. So it allows there to be flexibility and flow and still structure, which is what allows for creation overall to stay present and creativity to stay present, because then that's how we each work towards our goals individually. That's how I help support them in actually staying accountable to their creative goals, and knowing like, okay, well, you just went on a week long, out of town family thing to deal with family issues, and you just got back and you guys had a very active trip. So yes, you may have this business goal that you want to create. However, we got to honor your energy so you can actually create it. You got to have a cup that's full enough of energy to create it, to allow it to flow. So that's kind of some of the ways it shows up on all those levels for me and my clients. What
Yeah.
about for you?
Oh, it's been one of my favorite words forever. Like the word itself, I love. Um, I love color, and that's like you were saying, every day, like, oh, how do I want to use color today? Is there a certain color I want to really notice today? And then play a game of like, where I see it show up. And so from anything like that to, I love what you're saying about how you work with your clients too. It's that, when I have these things set up of meeting with clients and kind of have like this well, today I've got this exercise that I'm thinking about doing with them, but then we get on a call because I work mostly in groups, and we get on a call and then the energy is different. And so it's that flexibility of like, okay, we're shifting.
Yes.
And how fun that is. Like, it reminds me of a river, like being on a river, and here's a smooth part and here's some white water, and but it's still fun. It's like, it's what you were saying about the flow. I agree. I think creativity is everywhere. And when we can separate, I used to be an art teacher, so people would say, I can't do art, like not little kids, but about sixth grade and above, kids start to separate themselves. Oh, I'm an artist or I'm not. And then adults the same way. And sometimes, I've had adults say, with the word creative, they immediately go to, I'm not an artist. Well, in my mind, everyone's creative. And so sometimes, it can just be a fun adventure to try to draw that out in people, because you get on whatever subject lights them up, and there will be creativity in that
Yeah.
discussion, right?
And it flows right out of them, literally comes right out. There's no hesitation because there's no separation. Like you said, they're not separating or limiting themselves through a perspective of what something should look like or should be, because creativity, it's free. Creativity is free flowing. Oh, I love that. Yes, yes, yes.
It's such a good topic, isn't it?
It's such a fun topic. I was gonna say, when I think of you and creativity, I love that you said the word fun, because that's what I was thinking. Is like you make creativity fun rather than, like you said, a limited perception of how something needs to be. And it almost, given that I grew up as a true country girl, I know all about those boat rides on the river, and it's such a fun journey. And nature is so creative, it's so free flowing. You never know what you're going to experience out there. You could turn a bend and who knows? You never know what you're gonna see. It could be a pop-up island, or it could just be another continuous path of just beauty in front of you. You don't know, but you stay inspired the whole time and you love it the whole time.
Yeah. And if you have those open eyes and that attitude of curiosity, then, like you say, it's almost like there's never a dull moment. There's never life is just happening all around and within. And it's just, what have we primed ourselves for? And how are we seeing it?
Yeah. And how can I feel like it also allows creativity, and letting it be fun allows us to decide how do we want to see it, and allowing ourselves to really receive seeing it that way. Like the healthy friendships and conversations that I have, like right now with you, it took seeing that and knowing that I could receive that despite the gossiping and the nonsense and surface level conversation I was used to, just because it was once part of what I saw. Once I chose that path of creativity, like real creativity, where I choose to be responsible even for the level of fun and creativity in my life, it leads me here. It magnetizes and attracts people like you into my world to have experiences, not just conversation. This is an experience. Like my face hurts from like smiling. I feel so full, literally, energetically. Like if I had a real friggin' meter to measure, I swear you could totally measure it. Like, and it's just soulful. So again, it creates an experience, and it creates one of true joy that you never forget, and it brings more of that. So, and again, creativity, everlasting. And once you invite it in and you continuously work, because it's not a one and done thing, but continuously work within to let it be fun when it can be, I think that's when all the stars align, as they say.
Yeah.
But we're the stars that align. Like us in our desires, that's the stars that align. Like how we aligned right here, right now, this conversation.
Yeah. And I feel the life force, like as you are talking about that and in our conversation and talking about creativity, it's like drawing that, like that current, that life force energy is drawing through us. And that's the liveliness, like the way you're talking about what you love and working with clients and what gets you excited, feeling the life force. And I feel like that's what creativity is as well. And with that in mind, what's coming up next for you? As the life force draws through you and draws you forward, what are you leaning into?
Ooh, I'm so glad you asked. I am leaning into the force, my friend. I am giving into it fully because it has been continuing to pull me in a direction of aligning with my soul family and really spreading healing out there to people so they can live free and experience more of life rather than just get more of life done. And so I actually in July am hosting a Womb Wounds Healing Summit. And it is a 3-day event that has multiple healers and practitioners and speakers all coming together to share their journey of becoming who they are choosing to be now in life as a leader through healing and how it empowered them to be who they are now and who they're continuing to evolve as. And it is something meant to be a true, I call it a summit for more official ideology of to kind of get an idea of what it will be like, but it really is more of a healing retreat experience to also integrate and marinate on anything that you've been learning or maybe wanting to shift and align with wherever you are in your healing journey. Because, part of my biggest mission and passion is to show people that life doesn't have to look one certain way and that there are people out there that get you despite that. Like, you don't have to separate yourself, and life can still be fun, fully creative, and it is still on you to take responsibility for that. And I want to be in the energy of people who get that and who honor that rather than seeing that as a burden, and they're empowered to have that kind of sovereignty over their own life. So that is what I'm leaning into. And honestly, a lot of the other work and pieces and services and packages I'm creating really align with that. The summit is just the next very specific thing I can share that is happening along with my continuous available one-to-one mentorship.
Well, we'll be sure and have the information about how to join this summit, how to
Yes.
benefit from that, which sounds amazing, and all the other ways to connect with you. And I have been so energized, honored, and full of life force through this conversation, this experience, as you say. And I thank you so much for not only this time, but for what you are, how much you have opened to the experience of the mission that you have, your vision for the world, your way of moving through the world, and being that example.
You. Thank you so much. And thank you for creating this experience and being here to experience it with me. I really appreciate that, and you. And it really has been such a fulfilling conversation.
Well, thank you so much, my friend. I look forward to seeing you again in the near future.
Yes, absolutely, of course.